So, I don't like the DC movies. Let me be clear. This, love it. This, not so much. And here's why. So, let me be clear here. The DC movies are a piece of garbage trash, and they are for a very specific reason. The DC movies have failed time and time again. And it's because of one simple reason. They keep trying to compete with the MCU. The MCU spent years cultivating their movies, starting off with solo films, building into the Avengers, and that was a box office cash grab that launched Phase 2, and then from there we got into Phase 3, and now we're here when Thanos has come and gone, and we are approaching Phase 4, and it is looking somewhat good, somewhat bad, and we have so many different possibilities to go to. But that's the MCU, and that's for a whole nother video. But DC started their game out a little too late. They started in 2013 with Man of Steel. Man of Steel was a great movie. I enjoyed Man of Steel. My dad owns Man of Steel. I watch Man of Steel right now if I wanted to. I mean, it's not my first choice of a movie, but it's a good film. I'm not just gonna be like, let me just go do something else or go to sleep right now. It's a good film. Then Batman v Superman got announced, and in 2015, when they were first talking about Batman v Superman, I was 11, maybe 12 years old, give or take, and I was like, man, this movie gonna be great. This movie gonna be so cool. And then it came out, and I watched it, and I was like, man, this movie is so cool. Ben Affleck as Batman is awesome. They did the Bat suit, and Batman vs. Superman, and Wonder Woman was up in it, and we got Justice League teasers. And then I kept watching the movie, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again. And I've come to the conclusion that Batman v Superman is a rushed version of what Avengers Age of Ultron was. And it was just, there are so many things wrong about BVS that we can go on in a whole nother video. But then they continued on. And I had high hopes because then they did the box office success that was friggin' Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was amazing. I love Wonder Woman. Own Wonder Woman 2. And Wonder Woman 1984 seems like it's going to be a callback for the DCEU. And we'll talk about that in a second. So then they did that, and it was like, okay, we got some redemption here. Then they went further down the trash drain and released Suicide Squad. And don't get me wrong, I like Suicide Squad. But just like BVS, it was a rushed interpretation of a movie. And they just kept going with this trend. They did Justice League. Oh, my God. Me and my dad went to go see Justice League. And it was a waste of time. It really was. Like, usually I can go, even at the end of the day, I can be like, you know what? Even if the movie was complete trash, it was kind of cool to see this visual effect or that visual effect, or see these two characters work together, or see this character put on screen. At the end of the day, the best thing about Justice League was literally nothing. Flash was terrible. Batman was terrible. Cyborg was a piece of trash. Superman and his fake lip was a piece of trash, and how OP'd he was. Aquaman was nice. But then Aquaman, the movie did better than he did in the doggone Justice League film. And then Wonder Woman, they toned her down for the film, even though she was a complete powerhouse in her own film. I have so many problems with Justice League, that's a whole other video to itself. Then Aquaman came out. And by this point, we are like 5 movies deep into this universe, and there is no turning back. Aquaman came out, and it was not a redemption arc like we thought it was going to be for the DCEU. It was not. It was not at all. Then 2019 came, and we got Joker. The Joker is not technically part of the DCEU, but I count it as a part of it because it's a DC movie, and I think it is not a process of where DC may be going. That's going to be part 2 to this video. But essentially, the big problem that DC's having right now is that they're trying to compete with Marvel, and they are attempting to create all these group movies with rushed character development or no character development at all, and using poor choices for everything they've done, from the villain CGI to the who had the idea of making Cyborg look like that, because he looks terrible. And maybe they'll make some redemption when they eventually make this Cyborg movie or have him show up in the Flashpoint movie. Maybe they will find a way to redeem the Cyborg look like that. This was his first model. This is how he originally looked, but then it got better over time. The same with the Flash suits on the Flash TV shows, and the Arrow suits and everything. But that was a terrible piece of trash. And then they keep toning them down. They keep watering down to try to make these movies work together. The point of putting a team together and putting this together and having, and what makes a good superhero movie is having all these guys at their best, at their brightest point of view, and using all their powers, and then still not being able to win separately or even in combos. It isn't until at the very last second, at the edge of your seat, when you think all hope is lost, that they finally band together and just so happen to manage to beat this foe. If you're gonna make them lose on purpose. Wonder Woman and Aquaman, Aquaman is practically a god, and Wonder Woman is a literal god. And not only that, she is the daughter of the biggest god there is in Greek mythology. According to Wonder Woman the movie, she is the daughter of Zeus. And if you paid attention to the movie properly, it seemed as if all the other gods were dead, and the only other god besides her that was still alive was, I believe, Ares. And it seems that Ares killed all the other gods by using Zeus's most powerful weapon, what he's most famous for, his lightning bolt, which according to Greek mythology is the most powerful weapon amongst the gods. It's a god killer. So she took said weapon from him, used it to kill him, and now she has said Thunderbolt. Where was said Thunderbolt throughout the entirety of Justice League? Continuity errors. I'm sorry for that tangent. We gonna come back to this later. All of that plus Batman, just I hope Robert Pattinson does a better job. And I have a lot of things that I want to talk about concerning Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Robert Pattinson's Batman, the new Joaquin Phoenix Joker. Man, that was a good movie. And basically, my next upcoming video is going to be talking about my thoughts, or exactly what I think is going to happen with the upcoming MCU, or at least what they should do. Because right now, the DCEU needs to be taken out back and killed. Because there is basically nothing salvaging anything. We pretty much are down to two people in the DCEU that can make it. Wonder Woman and Aquaman. And we're going to talk about how we can use those two and use all these new movies that have been circulating, rumors about that. And I'm going to talk about that in a theory in my part 2 video. I'll see you guys around.